welcome to episode 16 of the Holistic Me podcast, a journey to finding wellness within. I'm your host, Jessica Bravo. So excited to have you here today. Today's episode is a live Q&A that took place earlier today on Facebook, and I answered some really wonderful questions that were submitted by listeners and followers on social media. Some of the questions include energy work through Qigong practices, nutrition, weight loss in Chinese medicine, and how that is addressed or considered, as well as cosmology and Feng Shui. I hope that you find something in this episode that is of interest to you, or something that maybe helps you on your healing journey today, where you are now. Please connect with me on social media so that you can submit topics that you are interested in or questions that you'd like me to address in future live episodes as well. I did have a little bit of technical difficulties, so there is a portion at the end of the episode where it seems like the audio just cuts out. I just did not grab my closing comments of the recording. For some reason, did not save when I finished the live session, but the information that to answer the questions is there. I hope you find something of value, and I look forward to connecting and continuing the conversation as we dive deeper into each topic through the upcoming mini-series on the 8 branches of classical Chinese medicine. So without further ado, enjoy today's episode. Thank you to everybody that did submit some questions ahead of time. I truly appreciate it. So we have a few things to talk about, and I tried to the questions that came in, I tried to keep within similar categories. Okay, so I've got some questions regarding cosmology and astrology within Chinese medicine, Qigong or energy medicine, as well as nutrition, weight loss, and just overall wellness practices, and then your home environment, your Feng Shui, really. So I'm going to try and cover all of this and keep it, somewhat simple and concise, because I will also be doing a full mini series where each of the 8 branches of classical Chinese medicine I will dive into in depth. So they'll each get their own episode within a mini series over time. And I plan to record the first one next week, and then I'll probably do one a week. So that'll be over the course of the next 8 weeks. I'll get all of that information out to you more and more in depth, and hopefully answer your questions along the way for each of those categories as well. But this is all based off of my recent episode that posted on Monday, giving an overview of the 8 branches of classical Chinese medicine. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out on my podcast channel, podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast on any podcast platform that you listen on, and then you can also check out my YouTube channel. So I'm doing it so that the episodes are being provided on both platforms. Some people are more visual, so you've got this video preference, then you can watch on YouTube and get all the information that way, or you can subscribe and listen on the podcast. And so it's going to be the same. And this recording right now is going to also be posted to the YouTube and podcast as well. So I guess it's okay that it's not broadcasting live to YouTube today, because it's still going to be posted there. But hopefully in the future that will be resolved, and so I can get viewers on both platforms accessing it and able to ask questions live if they come up. So here we go. The first question that I have is wanting to know more. This follower wants to know more about cosmology or astrology as it relates to Chinese medicine, and does it correlate with the Chinese New Year and the animals that represent each year, or is it more similar to the astrology that we're used to the Western Zodiac, right? So the cosmology, as far as the zodiac is concerned, or the astrological portion of the cosmology within Chinese medicine, is based on the Chinese Zodiac. So those 12 animals that we know throughout that correlate to each year. But then to go with that, it's not only about the animal based on the year, but it's also they're given an elemental aspect as well, right? So the 5 elements are represented within the Chinese Zodiac as well. So as we go through the cycles, right, as we cycle through each of the animals within the Zodiac, we also cycle through the elements associated to each of them. So we have, you'd have to do a little bit more digging to find out, like you can find out your Chinese Zodiac sign, but then if you specifically look at your year, not just the grouping that you fall into within all of the years that are maybe monkeys or rabbit or snake, you can find out specifically your year, which element you are. So for me personally, I am an earth snake. So that's the year that I fell on, was an earth snake year. Okay, and actually while I was in acupuncture school, it cycled back to earth snake year again. And so it was interesting to kind of learn more about that in that process, or at that time. So so this, just like with the Western Zodiac or astrology, right? The different animals will correlate to or correspond to certain personality types or energy levels, things like that. But also understanding the element that is associated with your particular year will also give you a little bit more insight on deeper kind of knowledge of your patterns or potential patterns when it comes to maybe health, or just the way in which you can more easily transition or go through life at various stages, okay, and within different areas of your life. So understanding that, you can dig a little deeper. There's a lot of great resources. I plan to give a little bit more in-depth information on this. I'm not an expert on the astrological portion of this by any means, but I will give a little bit more insight when I get to that particular the cosmology episode within the mini series, and dive a little deeper with more concrete examples for that. So hopefully that information is helpful to you. And let's see, then this one is a combination for 2 followers that submitted questions regarding Qigong within Chinese medicine. So movement portion of Chinese medicine, which correlates to what I consider to be the umbrella of movement, energy movement, or movement practices, which is Qigong. Okay, and so one question is discussing movement portion of Chinese medicine, Tai Chi or Qigong. Is there a foundation purpose for these practices? And the other similar question was, I've heard there's an overarching energetic practice behind all of the various forms of subtle energy-informed exercise practices, such as Kung Fu, Qigong, etc. Wondering if you know anything about it. So, yes, I do. Qigong is really truly the overarching or umbrella practice within all of these subtle energy-based exercise practices, okay? So within Qigong, we can find Tai Chi and the Kung Fu and other practices as well. But Qigong really serves many purposes, okay? And part of that is the aspects of longevity, okay? Preventative care or self-care and curative practices, okay? There is meditative practices within Qigong, and then there's also the martial arts aspect where it can enhance your martial arts abilities as well if it's something that is integrated into your particular martial arts style, such as Kung Fu. So I'm looking over here away from the camera because I took notes on the questions and what I wanted to talk about, in case you're wondering. So as far as the practice of Qigong, it's a practice that includes coordinating the body with both breath and mind through meditation, massage, chanting, sound and body postures or movements. And each of these styles or particular specific aspects within Qigong has its own purpose and role within self-cultivation and creating or maintaining balance and health within the body. Okay, so it's a really profound way of moving energy within yourself, whether it be through breath work, stillness or standing meditative practice, or moving meditative practices. Okay, there's also a medical Qigong category where it is performed by a practitioner or a provider. Okay, and so the energy movement is being what's the word I'm looking for, facilitated by a practitioner, by an external source. Okay, almost similar in a way to Reiki, in my opinion. Now, you're still integrating along the Chinese medicine aspect, right? So having a knowledge and an understanding of Chinese medicine, the meridians. It's my son in the background laughing. So the various aspects of Chinese medicine in which Qigong is a part of, okay, and what the highest form of the medicine, and I should have listed this at the beginning, but just as a review, the 8 branches of classical Chinese medicine are meditation or self-cultivation, right? Then it's movement, nutrition, cosmology, Feng Shui, followed by bodywork, herbalism or herbal medicine, and acupuncture or acupressure. Okay, so meditation or self-cultivation being the highest form of the medicine, right? So this falls under that. Qigong actually kind of encompasses both the meditation or self-cultivation practice as well as the movement aspect of the 8 branches, because there is a movement component within Qigong as well. So you can think of it as taking care of both of those roles when we incorporate Qigong into our life, okay, in whatever capacity that may be. My starting point for most people is to start out with breath work. That's my recommendation. That's my introduction to Qigong for people, is to start with the breath. When we tune into our breath, we really start to tune into our body. We start to calm our nervous system, our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, and we start to have a knowing or a connection to our bodies so that we can receive the signals that our body's sending us. Okay, so our body wants to know, or it's our body's way of knowing when we start to tune in that way and tune into our breath, that we're ready to facilitate some sort of change or facilitate healing to start within the body, because the body in and of itself can heal. It's just a matter of perhaps how far along or how far you've progressed through a certain condition, which there may be a call or a need to bring in other external sources to facilitate healing as well on top of your own work. Because as always, everything that you can do for yourself is so much more powerful than anything that anyone else, myself included, can do for you. Okay, we can certainly help and be part of the healing process and your healing journey, but it also has to come from you. External sources cannot do all of the work. Now, continuing, I hope that answers the question as far as Qigong and energy practices are concerned. Again, I will be diving deeper into this within these categories going forward in the mini-series. And then there was a question about more along the lines of nutrition. which is our third branch within the classical Chinese medicine model. All right, and the question is, what are the Chinese medicine beliefs and protocols around weight gain and weight loss? And their nutritional tools that they use, and how does the energy impact the fluctuations? Okay, and then there's some follow-up questions to that. Any nutritional tips for general well-being and principle? There's another question from the same follower. What are the principles of sleep from the lens of Chinese medicine, and how does it heal us? So starting out with weight gain and weight loss. Weight gain, from a Chinese medical perspective, is usually seen as a sign of imbalance in the body, and most commonly due to what we call dampness. Okay, dampness can be caused by an external factor. All right, we can have dampness within our environment. Right, if we live in a damp environment, it could lead us to have some internal dampness. Right, an invasion, so to speak. And but most commonly it's also brought on through internal responses that lead us to generate dampness within our system. Okay, so there's many ways that we can consider treating dampness and treating weight gain or helping individuals with weight loss, but each individual is going to be addressed based on their own individual needs and their own patterns, right? So we look at the whole picture. Yes, there is this kind of overarching dampness that many people will have when we're discussing weight gain or weight loss. But there's going to be other pieces of the puzzle that will help us in deciding how to best go about achieving weight loss for each individual based on that full picture. Okay, and if we're talking just strictly dampness, though.
Grow big. Can I walk grow big? How I grow big?
Bear Grylls. Excuse me one moment. It's in Disney Plus, buddy. If you want to bring it over to me, I can help you find it. So if we're talking strictly dampness, then you're going to have to unplug that, buddy. Okay, just pull it up. Good job. Then we want to help dispel dampness through either acupuncture or acupressure, as well as nutritional support or herbal supplements. Okay? Oh, you're almost there. Look at that. You got most of the way there. This is so funny. What is it called, though? Do you remember?
Cold.
I know it has Bear Grylls. Oh, you know what it's called?
What?
It's called Hostile Planet. Okay. Here you go, buddy. You can pick the episode. National Geographic's a wonderful thing. So, so we want to dispel dampness again through acupuncture or acupressure, as well as nutritional support or herbal supplementation. All right. But there are some key foods that we want to avoid that do cause dampness. So these are foods that generate dampness within the body if consumed in excess. And in Western culture, unfortunately, most things are consumed in excess. And so dairy products are definitely a food you want to avoid or start to reduce drastically. Rich meats, okay, can also generate dampness. Concentrated juices, wheat, yeast, bananas, and processed sugars and sweeteners are the main culprits for generating dampness. The other food categories that may also lead to causing some dampness within the body is overconsumption of cold raw veggies. Okay, so it's very difficult for our body to break down and process a lot of cold raw vegetables over extended periods of time. Periodic cold raw veggies like a regular salad, fine, not a big deal, but when we're eating it every day all year, it's very taxing to our system. Okay, so what I tell my patients is you want to cook your veggies at least lightly. Lightly steam them, lightly saute them. You could cook them a little bit more, but if you like that crunch or that edge to your veggies, then do just a little bit of steaming or a little bit of sauteing, and it'll still maintain that crunch, but it will still give you the benefit of lightly cooking them so that you can not tax your system as much as far as breaking them down when we're talking about digestion, okay? And stay away from iced drinks. We're like obsessed with iced coffee. Like, you can have a cold brew, but don't like prepare it, you can have the cold drink, but then don't add ice. Too much cold within the body will also generate dampness. So room temperature or warm drinks are preferred. Occasional cool drinks, during the hot summer months, that is fine. Eat with your seasons, okay? If it's cold, don't add more cold. But some foods that can help drain or reduce dampness, we have dandelion leaf. Whether you eat it with your veggies or dandelion leaf tea can help to drain dampness. Adzuki beans are really wonderful for this. Barley, garlic, horseradish, kidney beans, lemon, onion, parsley, pumpkin, radish, scallions, and there's many more, but I could go on. But these are like the most common ones that we might recommend to patients to start, okay, just to give you an idea. So some of these things, dandelion leaf tea, you can have daily. Prepare yourself a cup. It's going to help to help you basically get rid of any excess water accumulation or dampness within the body over time without having like drastic effects or purging. Adzuki beans is the same. Some of these are very accessible and easy to add into our cooking. Okay. As far as nutritional tips, the follow-up question was, any nutritional tips for general well-being? Yes, and I sort of mentioned them already. Eat with your seasons, okay? Eat with the seasons. As the seasons change, we should be changing how we eat as well. And also eat an assortment, eat a variety, eat the rainbow, right? The colors of foods also relate to their energetics, okay? And we also want to be mindful of our food combination. Within my own deck that I created, the Wellness Within deck, there are nutrition cards in the deck, but within the booklet, the guidebook, I included a easy to follow chart that has food combination. Okay, it's a food combination chart. So it's very important to follow that in some way, okay, or begin to follow it. Start to realize that our body is meant to break down foods in a specific way based on the enzymes required for specific types of foods. And when we eat certain foods together, those enzymes counteract each other and we do not digest food properly, leading to gas, bloating, indigestion, pain, all of these things. So it's very important to pay attention to how you combine your foods and what kinds of foods you're putting into your body, right? Drink plenty of water. There's so many people that don't drink enough water. My kind of go-to rule or average recommendation, my average recommendation is to drink half your body weight in ounces, okay? So just as an easy number, if you're 120 pounds, you want to have roughly 60 ounces of water, okay? Give or take, depending on your activity levels. If you're more active, if you're exercising, you're gonna wanna drink more than that, okay? And the other is to reduce processed foods as much as possible and eat organic whenever possible, okay? We're already inundated with enough toxins in our environment, and so if we can reduce the amount of toxins that we're consuming within our food, whether it's from processed foods or produce, we're just gonna help our body just a little bit more by going that route, okay? But definitely reducing processed foods is the starting point. And the next question that the same follower had was, what are the principles of sleep from the lens of Chinese medicine, and how does it heal us? So one of the things I like to share or tell my patients, because often after treatment, people will experience one of two things. And most commonly, probably 80 or 90% of the time, people will feel tired after treatment. And the other 10 to 20% of the time, people will feel really energized after treatment. And like the next time I see them, they'll be like, I don't know what you did, but I went home and I like cleaned my whole house, or I got my whole to-do list done that I haven't like been able to tackle in over a month. And those are like really cool moments, but majority of the time, people will often feel some level of tiredness after treatment. And I usually instruct patients that if you're able, follow that instinct to rest, because it's just your body signaling that it has begun the healing process, and we heal best when we rest, okay? And so through this, if we're able to rest when our bodies need it, whether it be through a nap or just lounging around for a period of time and just relaxing and letting our body be still in a way, right? That is very helpful to facilitating the healing process, or continuing the healing process that our body is trying to initiate. But during sleep at night, right, this is a time where our chi, our energy, can smoothly flow through the body without the interruptions of our day-to-day activities, right? And so it can circulate throughout all of our systems, allowing for that healing to take place and where it's needed most, okay? So again, we heal best when we rest. So whenever you feel truly tired, it's your body signaling that it needs that time to generate some healing. I have one more question to cover, buddy. Oh. All right, but don't turn that on, okay? Because it's gonna, I don't know what it's gonna do to my, hey. Sorry. Can you turn that off, please? Because it's messing with my phone. Thank you. Here, play with that for a little bit.
But that's only a play. And nothing to do. To wear.
I know. I'm going to be done in a minute, though. I have one more question to answer, okay? And then my last question for this live and this episode, thank you for watching and listening if you are so far, is how does this setup of our home affect the inner world of our health and well-being? Which is a great question. And again, I'm going to be doing an episode and hopefully maybe having a guest on for that, who will know more about Feng Shui specifically. But just like our body, our energy moves through our home.
What's this?
That is a special pen. Let's see. Yes, if you can do it on the table, on paper, please. Very gentle. Here you go. All right. So just like in our body, energy moves through our home, and certain areas of our home, well, our home has an orientation to it, right? A certain direction that it faces, and it falls, different rooms within our home or different areas within our home fall within certain areas of the Bagua map, okay? And so those different areas, I don't know, buddy, go find something over there to do for just another minute, okay? Thank you. And so, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So each of these different areas are going to correspond to different aspects of our life, right? Energetically. And so you want to maybe look at what that Bagua map means, or the orientation of it, and how your, can you come around? and we'll have an orientation specific to that. Okay. And it's easy to look up, but you'll need to understand which way your home is oriented. Then what can happen though, if certain areas of our home are cluttered or not aligned with what that specific area is meant to be, then we can have energy that becomes stuck in the home, and that can affect the flow of the energy within the home, and also affect our mental state, and over time affect our physical body as well, because it's all connected, right? Can you say hello?
Hello.
And so it's very important to kind of be mindful of what areas of your home need some attention.